We already told you that. The culprit rode on top of Amapal as Master controlled it and was taken all the way to the doctor's lab.
But if someone was riding on it, how did they get past the high-voltage shocks in the panel chamber?
Oh.
This is the end for you! You have nowhere left to go!
Oh, come on! Why now?
I won't let you maggots ruin the peace of Kanai Ward! As the king of Amaterasu Corporation and the guardian of Kanai Ward, I will stop you here and now!
Perhaps this, too, is an obsession. Why does he insist on covering up the truth? Tell me, what will you do, Yuma? Are you going to stay willfully blind?
No, I'll fight. Whether it's subconscious or not, I won't look away from the truth. I'll find the truth no matter what. This is for the Chief and everyone at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Good luck! You'll never find it. You'll scurry around this labyrinth forever, like blind mice. You'll rot away in here, looking for an answer that will never come!
Fühle, Vivia, fühle. Mann, Yuma ist so doof. Oder naiv.
Keep playing with your shit, deductions. You still haven't solved the greatest mystery. How did the culprit get past the security? The critical lab security system was always live. There was no way to reach the doctor. The panel chamber shocks would have fried the culprit. That security system? No living human can breach it.
I'll slash through this mystery. A human could get past the panel chamber by using Fubuki's forte. In fact, that's how we got past the panels. The high-voltage shocks kept destroying Amapal. But we reversed time every time that happened.
Correct. So whenever it was struck by the current, you went back in time. But while that was occurring, the culprit, a human, was riding on top of Amapal. That person was burnt to a crisp every time you failed.
War nur einmal, keine Sorge.
But
Which means you killed the culprit over and over again.
Vivia,
If only you had chosen to remain ignorant, I would have walked beside you in silence. But if you intend to seek the truth, then I must stand in your way.
Och Mann, Vivia, komm schon.
what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Weil der Chief ist, du
He's
Trottel.
going to betray you, Master.
Betray me?
It's up to you, Yuma. This is your final chance to save the world you believe in. What are you going to do? It's time to decide your past and your future.
Na, dann zeig mal, was du hast.
Why, Vivia?
Oh, der wird gar kein Monster. Schade. Weißt du mit deinem Cutter, ja? Ey. Okay, was willst du jetzt von mir? Ja. Frag mich etwas. Oh Gott,
How
Hilfe.
did the culprit bypass the toxic
Ah, okay. Giftgaseigenschaften.
gas chamber? It's impossible to avoid the gas.
Uah,
The culprit
Ich dachte,
would
ich kann
surely die.
das schon, ja.
You should already know this, right? The gas is a special trait. The gas can see through even a gas mask.
Ich weiß.
No ability can nullify its toxicity.
Ich weiß.
Once it hits you, you're done for. You die before reaching Wesker.
Nein.
No
Nein!
one can get past the gas chamber.
Was eine
Right.
Kacke.
But
Let me ask you. How did the culprit
Ups. Ups, weg. Ja, ja, ja.
bypass the toxic gas chamber? It's impossible to avoid the gas. The culprit would surely die. You should already know this, right? The gas is a special trait. The gas can see through even a gas mask. No ability can nullify its toxicity. Once it hits you, you're done for. You die before reaching Wesker. No one can get the...
This is the truth.
Jedes Mal versuche ich es und dann schaffe ich es nicht und deswegen gehe ich auf die andere Seite und dann ist zu spät. Voll Kacke.
if you pass through the toxic gas, you'll die. But you'll have 30 minutes before it kills you. Which means you could survive for 30 minutes.
What? Don't tell me.
There are no gas masks here that can block this toxic gas, and no fortes that can nullify it. There's only one way you could get through it. You do nothing. You endure it in hopes of Amapel taking you to the next room.
Then the culprit didn't do anything to counteract it and just passed through the toxic gas?
Yep.
It's the only explanation that makes sense. This is the truth. I can't believe it. But if the culprit really did just endure the toxic gas,
Then they...
the culprit is...
It appears you finally glimpsed the truth, Yuma. Well, how does it feel to have your world shatter before your eyes? Isn't this what you wanted?
What's he talking about?
Yomi's mystery phantom and Fifia are both right. Subconsciously, I didn't want to know the truth.
Huh?
Up until now, the Mystery Labyrinth was withholding the mysteries that led to the culprit. And that's because it's a reflection of my own reluctance.
Master, what's wrong? Do you know who the culprit is? It's the hitman, right?
The truth is worthless. Nothing has less value in this isolated, rainy city. No one wants the truth. Not even you! Now, rot away and die right here! No one will get in my way. Kanai Ward, Amaterasu! They both belong to me!
Also hübscher wird er nicht, ne? Wobei...
If the culprit carried out the crime like you deduced, then they should be dead from the toxic gas.
Oh Gott.
But no one at the scene has died from poisoning. If you can understand that much, then what are you still doing here?
You're right that no one in that lab died from that toxic gas. But that was part of the culprit's plan from the beginning. They planned to distort the facts of their death.
Yuma, are you sure you want to face the truth?
Ja.
Your world will fall apart. The world that you believed in.
Your deduction is wrong. Don't disturb the peace. It's not even worth debating. Is this the best you can do to refute it? Just give up and die!
Nee, will ich aber nicht.
With this, I'll expose the truth! The culprit misrepresented their death by using the hitman.
Ich habe gerade gar nicht geguckt, was da stand. Ich bin einfach nur auf Killer gegangen. Boah, das hätte ich beinahe nochmal machen müssen.
The culprit realized their plan would be exposed if someone in the lab died from toxic gas. So they used the hitman to cover up their own death.
Used the hitman?
Meaning, the hitman wasn't hired to assassinate the doctor. They were hired to cover up the culprit's death by toxic gas.
Huh? The hitman's target was the culprit? Not the doctor? But the doctor was stabbed by the knife with the inscribed F. Doesn't that belong to the hitman?
All you would need is a similar knife. The story of Fink the slaughter artist using a knife inscribed with the letter F is well known.
Nah, we leave it alone until we receive further orders. Did you see the knife stuck in his back? It's the one that Fink the slaughter artist uses, right? I've heard about his knives inscribed with the letter F.
So it was all a ruse? The real culprit made it look like the hitman did it?
Stop. Stop, 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 stop! You useless garbage! To hell with detectives and the truth! I won't let you have your way in my city! There is no real culprit! Dr. Weska was killed by the hitman!
Huh? What's going on? Who's the real culprit?
The real culprit. The real culprit is...
The time has finally come, Yuma. It's time for you to acknowledge what you've known all along. If the tiny crack spreads any further, the mirror will shatter, exposing the chaos of the real world. Knowing this, will you still expose the truth? Then, show me your conviction.
The clues pointing to the identity of the hitman's target. I know. I've known all along.
Now, expose the truth. Do it, if you want to burn the world down.
Watch the world burn. Besiege Yomi mit Lzgz. Lzgz. Welcher Hinweis führte zum wahren Täter? Oh nein, es wird traurig.
The bloodstained photo found in the hallway near the lab. There was a person pictured with a woman. That was the hitman's target. The real culprit behind this case. The blood obscured the person's face, but I know who it is. It could only be one person. It could only be...
How do you know? That person in the photo is the hitman's target. And who is it?
Jetzt mal eine dumme Frage. Die Frau sieht ein bisschen aus, als wäre sie unsere Mutter, oder?
It's...
No. Stop! Don't you dare say another word! No one wants the truth!
I don't understand, but... Good luck, Master! I'm always by your side, haunting you!
Mist. Mist. Wer ist der wahre Täter? Ach, das ist Fink. Ach so.
Damn it!
Chief. Yako.
Huh? Why? Why is Fuzzhead here?
Chief Yako was the only person attacked by the hitman in the lab. In other words, the Chief was the hitman's target. But Chief Yako tried to hide that photo by tossing it behind the houseplant. He hid it knowing it'd be an important clue. And that's because the person in the photo is Chief Yako himself. It was given to the hitman so he'd know his target, and the Chief tried to conceal it. Which means the blood covering the face on the photo was likely done on purpose.
Hold on, Master! Are you serious? You're really saying Fuzzhead is the culprit? Really? I don't buy it. You think he actually put together this elaborate murder? He's knocking on death's door just for this?
I don't want to believe it either, but there's no other way.
Don't forget this stuff.
Kampf gegen Vivia. Der anämische Vampir wird dich immer wieder mit Fragen bombardieren. Drücke den richtigen Knopf, wenn du denkst, dass du die richtige Antwort weißt. Du erleidest Schaden, wenn du alle heranfliegenden Angriffe ignorierst.
The phantom vanished. The truth has been mostly exposed, and the labyrinth cannot function much longer. Anything I do now might not matter. But I'll do it anyway. Because it's something I must do. While the Chief takes his final breaths.
Vivia.
Yuma. If Chief Yako is the culprit, then what about that death threat?
Das ist trauriger als erwartet.
Why would the Chief send it? If he was the killer? Answer me, Yuma.
By sending that note, everyone would believe the doctor's life was in danger, which was necessary for this sequence of events to take place. all the master detectives headed to the secret lab because of that note. Chief Yako brought them here to take advantage of their abilities and murder the doctor.
Huh? Their abilities?
But the death threat wasn't sent just to the detectives. The peacekeepers received it too. What was the point of that? Why put them on high alert? What is the truth behind it all?
The note was sent to the peacekeepers because they were also part of the plan. When the peacekeepers received the note, they dispatched a lot of their personnel to the scene. The master detectives were able to take advantage of the commotion to enter the facility. They did it by disguising themselves as peacekeepers.
It would be convenient to have a lot of peacekeepers around if you want to get into the lab disguised as one.
This is why the peacekeepers also received the death threat.
Hey, you still want to do this? It's not too late to give up.
I am well aware of the danger. I haven't gotten this much exercise in a long time. But this is something I must do. I can't leave the chief like this.
Vivia.
Let's continue, Yuma. So, everyone disguised themselves as peacekeepers and entered the lab. You were already at the lab, and that's where you met up with the chief, right?
Yes, but we decided to split up after the blackout occurred.
Wait! That blackout should have caused a commotion. If we leave now, the peacekeepers will see us. I knew it. This place is crawling with them.
What do we do?
I'll draw their attention to buy some time. In the meantime, you two hurry to that doctor.
The chief said he'd buy us some time, but he actually went and hid inside the airlock.
Was the blackout part of the plan? So the one who caused it, was
Das
that
muss ja dann
also
Fink gewesen
the
sein.
chief?
Nee, das kann nicht sein, der war bei uns. Doch, du weißt gar nicht. Nee. Hä? War das Jakku gerade? Ich habe es nicht lesen können. Okay. Er muss gewesen sein, der Komplize halt. Also Komplize, Gänsefüßchen.
The chief was with me in the security room
Yeah.
at the time of the blackout. It's impossible for him to have caused it. So the only person it could be is the hitman. It must have been part of the job. He instructed the hitman to cause a blackout at a specific time.
But why?
It made us think the doctor was in danger, so we'd go check on him. We used Amapal and Fortes to get through the tight security system. Chief Yako had it all planned out from the start. He used us to break through the security so he could kill the doctor.
So, Master using Amapal and the Sheltered Skank's time rewinding ability at the panel chamber? That was all part of Fuzzhead's plan?
The only way to get past security was to use both Amapal and that Forte. The chief knew we'd figure that out.
I think it's more like he trusted us. He trusted that we would arrive at that conclusion.
I'm counting on you both. See you later.
Trust? How could this be a trust thing? He was clearly taking advantage of you all. He gathered the master detectives using a fake death threat, then used their fortes to commit murder. What a scumbag! He used you all to get away with murder! Out
Nein.
of all the criminals I've ever met, he's the worst coward of them all! Master, grab that coward and...
Enough!
Why did it have to come to this? Chief Yago saved me. He took me in. I had lost everything, even my memories. Sure, he may have been a little pushy at times, but still, I really admired him. So, why? Why did you do it? Is this about the woman in the picture? Chief, please tell me, or
There's no point in asking. That's just a mystery phantom. It's not the real Fuzzhead. Master, watch out!
The phantoms are a reflection of the same people in the real world, right? Which means he should hold the same thoughts. The photo behind the houseplant, I don't know what the chief was hiding. But that photo must have been dropped by the hitman after he was done with it. The chief picked it up and used his own blood to obscure the face. He knew the truth would be exposed if that photo was found, so he hid it behind the potted plant. He left his blood on it, almost like he wrote a dying message. But in truth, it was actually a secret he wanted to keep hidden.
Master, I think you know this, but to exit the mystery labyrinth, you will have to eliminate the culprit.
eliminate the chief?
Are you really going to do this? After all the mysteries are solved, the chief back in the real world will die. But you saw yourself, Yuma. The chief is already knocking on death's door. Will you still bury him in the name of truth?
Würde es wollen.
The chief took me in when I had no memories, or anyone to turn to. I trusted him from the bottom of my heart. Now, I have to end his life?
You know, I liked it, surprisingly. The little bit of peace and quiet I found at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Vivia, you knew the truth behind this case from the very beginning.
I had a hunch. Because of my spectral projection, I knew the chief had been planning something for quite some time. But I pretended not to see. I admired him and the world he had made.
That's why you threatened me, and were so uncooperative in the investigation.
I knew you would reach the truth eventually, Yuma. But I tried my best to keep you away. Exposing the truth won't save anyone. Neither the chief nor you.
Master, you've already come this far. You've got to finish this. What'll happen happen to the other master detectives if you die here? Didn't you say you wanted to expose the truth and save everyone?
Vivia, you told me that the time would come when I'd have to prove my conviction. The conviction to accept the truth, no matter how cruel it may be. Now is that time, isn't it?
Yes, and yet you intend to continue. If you're prepared for it.
Hey! You better not get in Master's way again!
Yuma, do you remember when the Chief's soul called out to us?
Huh?
Yeah, the truth is cruel. Never in history has the truth been known to be kind. But you know what? Turning your eyes away from the truth and living a lie is harsh too. In the end, you can never look away from the truth. As long as you live, you must face that pain. So really, what's the point of worrying so much about it? When you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud.
I always averted my eyes from the truth. For my own sake. My own peace and quiet. But I could never say with confidence that I was proud of myself. In the end, I was just running away from everything. That's why I entrust this to you, Yuma.
And trust what?
You signed a pact with the Death God in your desire for the truth. I want to see your conviction. As long as you don't stray from exposing all truth, I believe you'll be able to face it, cruel as it may be. I want to see it through to the end. It's why I followed you here. In that sense, we're accomplices. If you must bring down the Chief, then I will lend a hand. I won't avert my eyes any longer. I, too, want to live with my head held high. Because I, too, am a detective.
Vivia.
When you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud.
I understand, Chief Yako. Thank you for everything you've done for me!
Das war nicht schön. Der unvollkommene Insider. Ach, es war echt nicht schön. Wo befindet sich das geheime Labor? Okay, Messer, Gegensprechanlage, Armappell. Okay. Also, warte mal. Was ist das? Detektiv und auch die Peacekeeper. Ah, hier, Gegensprechanlage. Oh Mann, jetzt läuft meine Nase. Okay, wir haben nichts Neues. Täter versteckt. Wie kam der Täter am Sicherheitssystem vorbei? Ist es schon Armappell? Okay, ja. Okay, immer noch nur das. Dann müsste das hier das Messer sein. Oh! Mann, ich dachte, das wird mir nichts ausmachen, weil es schon so offensichtlich war. Amateur Daso Corporation, das müsste ja dann der Anfang sein. Oh. Man, das ist so fies, echt. Das sind die Friedenswächter, das heißt hier in die Friedenswächter. Dann haben wir noch eins offen. Dekontamination. Schlechter Künstler Fink. Fubukis Kräfte. Das ist wahrscheinlich das nächste, was kommt. Wessen Kraft oder genau. Dann. Wer hat den Täter getötet? Naja, eigentlich niemand, eigentlich das Gift und jetzt letztendlich wir, also. Naja. Das ist Jaku wie Hose.
Step right up, step right up! Peacekeepers, a CEO, a research doctor, a hitman, and master detectives! 2 dead bodies, but lots of shady characters! Truth bombs are about to be dropped! Time for the deduction denouement!
The victim in this case is one Dr. Weska. This incident features a sinister and meticulously detailed plot centered on the doctor.
The old geezer was holed up inside a lab at Amaterasu HQ. He was a total hermit in the critical lab with a totally overkill security system.
The culprit made thorough preparations beforehand to break through that system.
Boom killing a shut-in is hard work. The humane thing to do is to reintroduce him to society first.
Yeah, with that out of the way. Posing as a hitman, the culprit sent a death threat to the Peacekeepers, the detective agency, and the research lab. At the same time, they contracted a real hitman and had him infiltrate the research facility.
They spilled the beans about Gramps being in danger to lure both the Peacekeepers and the detectives to the lab.
You see, the Master Detective's presence at the scene was an indispensable part of the plan. It was how the culprit gained access to the research facility, after all. The hitman infiltrated the lab exactly as planned. And we arrived with Makoto at the same time.
Stuff went down, blah blah blah, and Master got locked up by that Yomi guy.
I was rescued by Desuhiko and the culprit, who were disguised as peacekeepers. With the real peacekeepers rushing around, the culprit took advantage of the turmoil to sneak into the lab. But after catching up with them, the power suddenly went out, separating the culprit from the rest of the group.
The blackout itself was caused by the hitman, right? And getting separated was all part of the culprit's plan.
Right. They used the blackout as an opportunity to hide in the vents in the airlock chamber. Afterwards, we headed to the critical lab to check on the doctor's condition, just like the culprit directed us. But since that lab used a separate power supply, nothing strange had happened.
His whole "the doctor's in danger" spiel was an act, huh? He made a fool of you, Master. What a dick!
But then, someone attacked the doctor while we were trying to talk with him over the intercom. We had to get into the doctor's lab.
But that time, the old geezer was playing games with us. And he even tried to kill you and the others with a trap! That bastard wanted to use your dead bodies! He really got you there, Master!
I don't see why you're so happy about it. The doctor's sham made the case even more confusing. Even if we tried to get to the doctor, the critical lab was guarded by tight security. The only way through was by using an Amapal. The culprit rode on it by emerging from their hiding place in the airlock vent and jumping onto the robot's head.
All aboard the Amapal Express! First stop, a shower of toxic gas! Humans can't protect themselves against the gas, but since it's not instantly fatal, it wasn't a problem. Next up, the panel chamber and high-voltage shocks! One wrong move, and it was insta-death. But thanks to that sheltered skink, we got all the continues we could want. So, we managed a perfect clear! The critical lab was finally breached!
The culprit had anticipated we would get through this way. They also knew they would die over and over as a result. The camera feed was affected when the culprit jumped on. I should have realized what was happening.
No use crying over spilt blood. On to the next thing! Where were we? Oh yeah! To open the door to the doctor's lab, Amapel had to reach out its arm and hit a switch. And when the door opened wide enough for a person to squeeze through, the killer snuck inside.
Amapel can't follow any new commands while its arm is extended, so the culprit didn't show up on the camera.
Then, the culprit boom-killed the old geezer using the same knife as the hitman. Gramps was pretty much deaf, so a backstab was easy peasy.
Then, the murderer tried to leave the room before Amapel entered. But they knocked the robot over on the way out.
They then went back into the airlock chamber vent to wait for you and the others to go by.
We entered the critical lab and found the doctor's body. The culprit used that time to get out of the vent and head for the hallway.
That was when they were found by the hitman. And stabbed.
They'd already been in contact with the toxic gas, so death was inevitable. However, dying by gas would expose them as the doctor's killer. So they hired the hitman to kill them, thereby concealing any involvement.
I guess that means the killer completely trusted in the Master Detective's capabilities. They knew those powers would get them close to the doctor. But why were they willing to die to hide the crime?
I can't say for certain. Was it his pride as a detective? Did he simply not want his friends to know? Whatever it may be, I'm prepared to face the truth. The culprit who murdered Dr. Weska, and even included his own death in the plot.
Jaco Furio! It was you!
I will expose the truth! But why? Chief Jaco, why? Why didn't you ever talk to us about this? Why did it have to end this way? Why didn't you tell us? Is this really what you wanted? Can you even hear me?
It doesn't matter who it is. Exterminating the real culprit's soul and destroying the Mystery Labyrinth. That's why I'm here. Surging bloodlust. Overflowing despair. The brilliant soul of Shinigami shall expunge this cursed case. Death to all deplorables. Ruin to the vile Mystery Labyrinth! Luminous darkness, shining rainbow, glorious stella!
Huh?